Hey guys, this is Jennifer, CommonGirl Creations. I am the common girl, a common girl, just a common person that lives her life, raised her kids. I work every day, I create things, create content, I paint things, I build things, I connect people. I create. That's what I am. I'm a creator. And I wanted to start a new podcast and a new YouTube channel to talk about the things that have really made an impact on my life, and I'm hoping that some of what I'm talking about through the number of these videos, that it connects with you on the other side. In particular with the 12 laws of the universe. A lot of you are familiar with the law of attraction, law of vibration, law of assumption, and you may not be as familiar with all the other laws. They're all equally as important. They're all equally working at all times and places. And so I think it's really important to provide some simple, common girl information, explanation on what each of these laws is and what it does, and how you can utilize these laws to really deliberately create a life that you want to live. If you're somebody that, has just been going through the motions, or just in a place where you feel like life happens to you and you're always reacting to a circumstance around you, and you feel like you're, seeking some outside answers, some outside fulfillment, some outside happiness, I think this is going to be a really good podcast for you to listen to, also channel for you to follow, because I really kind of get rid of all those myths and lies we've been told about, what is the secret to happiness? Where, how, when can we actually start living the life that we've always dreamed? Are we destined just to work, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, making ends meet barely, sometimes they don't at all, and just kind of going through the motions of life? Or are we really deliberate creators where we can use these laws to our benefit? The laws are happening and exist and work whether you believe it or not, whether you know about them or not. It's working. It's all working at 100% of the time, at all times. There's an energy force in this universe, in our existence, that connects us, and you feel it and experience it every day. You may not know what to call it, you may not know why, you may not know how, you may not know how to utilize it, but it's always working. The law of attraction is always working. The law of vibration, always working. So I wanted to talk on this particular video about the primary law, which is the law of divine oneness. And it is kind of the law that explains why and how all the other ones work. And the law of divine oneness simply states that there is one universal consciousness in this universe. There's one. Yes, there's many different cultures and religions and experiences and backgrounds and all different histories and futures, but at the end of the day, it's all under one law, universal law of consciousness. We are all connected. My energy, if I was in and you experience this, so let's say that you walk in a room and I've just been having a really, strong conversation with maybe the cable guy on the phone, and I'm like really frustrated, or maybe I just got done, having an argument with somebody, and you walk in and you kind of feel that the tension in the room. You're like, oh gosh, you can cut that with a knife, right? Well, that's my energy coming from inside of me, and it's expanding out into the room, into the area around me, and you're feeling that. Well, on a grander scale, that's how the universe is. It's feeling, and all of our different energies and all the space in between us, the space in the world, the space in the universe, the space in our home. There's all this empty space, but it's not empty. It's full of energy, and that energy is vibrating at a very high rate of speed, and we're all connected. when you get up in the morning and you've had a kind of a tough morning, maybe you start watching the news, and news is rarely ever good, and then you go sit in traffic, and there's a traffic jam, and you're late for work, and then you go into the office and you got a customer waiting there that's just ready to bite your head off, or you're already running behind and the boss has another plan for or something else due, or something else you did wrong, or another coworker you don't want to work with, and you just kind of go out through this whole day, and everything that is coming off all these other instances and circumstances is affecting you. Why? Because it's all connected to you. You're connected to it. So again, on a grander scale, we have one consciousness throughout the entire universe, not just this world, but the universe. I know it's hard to grasp, but because of that, that means when we're hoping that, and we're wanting to live this very, I've always wanted to live a simple life, a very, not secluded, but immediate friends and family around me. I want to do things that impact them mostly. I wanted to, just focus on, what's under my roof. And it's a really nice idea for that to happen, but it's really impossible to do because we're all connected. We're connected in our choices. We're connected in our thoughts and feelings. We actually feel the effects of what other people do, even across the other side of the world. We feel it in a variety of different ways. In our state of the economy, we are feeling the repercussions of choices other people have made on our behalf, and we are dealing with the $5 a gallon of gas, and we're dealing with the inflated food prices, and we're dealing with that. I didn't do anything personally to cause that. Did you? Did you do that? Did you go and decide to, start raising prices at your local gas station? Did you start, raising money for food? Did you change the interest rates? There's all these, we're impacted by what everybody else does. We just are. And, we need to need to understand that we don't live in our own little bubble. We just don't. And what we do impacts other people. How we feel impacts other people on a very grand scale. You can take something that happens really fun and exciting. So this past weekend has been the Jubilee over in England, and I love watching the parades and the pageantry and the celebration of the Queen of England. I'm not English, but my mother is, so I guess I am. But I don't live there every day, but I love watching people just experience joy and happiness, and it really does spread like wildfire, right? It just brings happiness. It brings connectedness. We can all appreciate her reign as queen, whether you believe in the monarchy or not. She's still queen, and she has been for 70 years. And just all the people celebrating, and it just it brings joy when you watch it. So I'm impacted by something that's happening across the pond, as they say, and it's bringing joy to my life. So that's another way we're connected. But on the other hand, when you look at what's happening in Ukraine, and this is not a political podcast or show by any means, but regardless of your beliefs, were impacted by what's happening in Ukraine. We see images of suffering and children dying and civilians dying. We don't have to live like that in the United States. Our buildings being bombed and due to the Russian invasion, and you watch that or know that's going on, and that has a negative impact on my heart and what I'm feeling, and so that impacts me in a way that, it kind of lowers my vibration. It makes me sad. I wonder what I can do as an individual, and I feel like there's nothing I can do. I'm not Russian or Ukrainian. I don't know how to help. So it gives us a feeling of helplessness. So those are just a couple of examples. When the shooting, the school shootings, what can you say about it? It just devastates your heart. And so again, that's having a negative impact, and I don't even live there. but it has a negative impact because of the human connection, not just because they're small children, just that human connection. The Buffalo shooting, those are grown-ups being just gunned down. I mean, it has a negative impact on how you think and feel. And if it doesn't, it should. But I think for the most part it does. So we are all impacted by the actions and reactions of others. Again, on a positive note, we can celebrate holidays, and we have the 4th of July coming up. We have, our regular Christmas holidays or festivities, that brings joy to us when we experience that. So, and again, that's nothing. I didn't shoot off a firework. I am not Santa Claus. But I can experience the joy and happiness watching other people, and it has a physical impact on who I am. So that's that connectedness, that divine oneness. Also throughout history, it really doesn't matter what religion. Religion is very different, at least for me, than spirituality and connectedness. I think that for me, religion is a set of rules and regulations that a group of people kind of came up with to make sense out of what happens and why we're here, and kind of regurgitate our history, why and how the civilizations and the belief systems and our moral compasses and those things all came to being. And we have Christians, and we have Buddhists, and we have Muslims, and throughout the vein of those religions is that connectedness and that understanding and belief in that divine oneness. Now, one of the things that I'm really clear about as far as my belief system is I've kind of run the gamut with, I grew up Catholic and did all the Catholic things. We have my communion, my confirmation. I ended up a Methodist church for a little bit after that. When my children were younger, we went to a Baptist church, and religion for me was really about a place. It was about a building and a place where we connect with our families, and we fellowship, and we pray for one another, and we tithe, and we learn things about God. We learn, different versions of the Bible, because there are different interpretations and teachings of the Bible. And at the end of the day, the one thing that I've always struggled with is this concept that God is this white-bearded, flowy robed man that lives in a cloud, and we wake up every day searching for him and searching and trying to find where he is to bring him into our life, and so we can worship and praise him and confess our sins and be forgiven. And it's just the whole idea of, it's this kind of a fairy tale is how they tell the story of, this visual that we have to go, we don't have what it takes. We weren't born enough. We weren't given enough. We weren't educated enough, that we don't possess inside of us already the ability to cope, the ability to strive, the ability to be prosperous. Is that right? Prosperous? Live in prosperity. That we have to go outside ourselves and search for this man in a cloud, and this divine man. And I just always had a hard time with that concept, because I know that even as a very small child, in moments where I found myself alone, whether I'm scared, sad, could even be happy, that I've been able to kind of settle myself a little. When I was little, it was settling it very little. As I got older, I do this more deliberately now, where I can settle my thoughts and settle my heartbeat and settle my breath, and do it all through breath, and have some knowings about things, a divine knowing, an inspired knowing, an inspired thought, and a sense within that you got this, you can do this. a sense of connectedness within, like right in here, like you can, it's an actual feeling, a physical feeling, that kind of then swells up over my brain and my body, and just gives me that sense of I'm not alone. Why? Because I'm connected to the universe. I'm connected to that source, that God that lives within me. And I don't have to go on a hiking trip on the side and go to the top of a mountain and look up in the sky and search for the man with the staff and the long white beard. And I'm not saying visualizations aren't fun and entertaining, and they do help us, make sense out of some things, but that old man lives inside me, and I believe he lives inside of each of us. And I believe that through the practicing and understanding of these laws of the universe, it doesn't take us away from God. It doesn't take us away from these teachings. It doesn't take us away from Jesus Christ. It doesn't take us away from any religion. If anything, it connects us. It is the connection, because it's all the same. There's some rules that man has made in different cultures that makes it different. But at the end of the day, when we're all connected and we're all united on a common thought, feeling, and goal, like, hey, we need to do something about our children being shot. That's a common goal for humanity. That's something that we have inside of us. I don't need to feel despair and lost and searching. I simply need to quiet myself and go inside and reconnect with that divine oneness that is at the center of who I am. And that is my source. It's my soul. And I truly believe that. So for divine oneness, for me, that's what it's about. It's about connecting with that greater source that not only lives in me, and it's so powerful, by the way. That source, think about it. God is so powerful, is so amazing, so creative, so pays such attention to detail, that he gave us life. He created humans. He created trees. He created every species of animal, cellular regeneration, the immune system, the central nervous system. When you get into the details of the power of this source, it's not just floating out there in space or up on a cloud where we can't access it. It literally is inside of us, and we have access to it at any moment, at any time that we decide to listen and go in, and we can connect to that divine oneness. And through that process, it is just, I tell you, it removes depression. It removes anxiety. It removes fear. It just does. And that's what I hope for you as we go through these learnings of the different laws, how you can tap into that as well. And not only first calm, find peace, find stillness, that stillness within, but then to turn around and deliberately use these other laws to create the life you actually want. Because your circumstances, every circumstance around you, every single circumstance, every person, every issue, good and bad, you created. You did that. You may not have done it on purpose, but you absolutely did it through these laws, through these vibrations, through this energy. And the good news about that is, if we've created something we don't like or that's not working for us, guess what? We can change it. We don't have to go and wait till Sunday and go to church and say, 12 Our Fathers and 10 Hail Marys to be allowed to do that. You can do it sitting from where you're at right now. This moment, you can begin to deliberately create the life that you imagine. Why? Because you have access to the divine right now. So I'm going to take you through a couple little breathing exercises, and I think it's called box breathing. If it's not called that, you can call me out on it, but I think I call it box breathing. And there's a million different ways to meditate. So you need to find something that works for you. Something that's going to bring your mind and your body and all that movement of energy that's kind of swirling and kind of causing all kinds of thoughts, and good or bad. It's a lot going on. We want to try to calm that. We won't ever stop it completely, right? We would be dead when that happens, or in a dreamless sleep. But what we want to do is we want to search for a stillness within us. So whether you're driving in your car, whether you are sitting at home listening to this, whether you are maybe have your headphones on at work, it doesn't matter. You don't need to close your eyes. I do need you to pay attention. So I don't recommend doing this while driving. So you might want to pull over. But if you are, pay attention to the road. But I want you to breathe. And I want you to be a very deliberate breather. I want you to feel how it feels to take a deep breath in through your nose and fill up your belly. Like, get that belly pushed out. And you want to breathe in on a count of 4, hold for 4, and then out through your mouth for 4. And we're just going to do this a couple of times, okay? And what you should notice by about the 3rd or 4th breath is you're going to feel a little silly if you've never done this before, but you should feel a little calmness start to settle through your chakras, all right, through your inner being. So let's do it, okay? Are you ready? In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 4. Again, in for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 4. Do you feel that? Again, in for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 4. Now, how long do you do that? Keep going. Don't stop. Just listen to my words while you're breathing. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. You're going to do it until what? Until your body starts to feel a stillness. Your arms might tingle a little. You might get a little tingle in your belly. You might get a little tingle in your brain. If you're at home in a safe space, you can close your eyes and do it. And really just focus on nothing else but that breathing, that breath. And your point and your purpose to this is to find stillness in your thoughts and in your feelings, so you can connect to the divine oneness that is inside of you already. Some of you may be already feeling it. Some of you may be like, just a relief or release. But in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. And now what you're looking for is nothingness, stillness, the calming. And then comes the knowing. Maybe you've had something on your mind. Maybe you've had a worry, a concern, an anger, an unforgiveness, and you're not really sure what to do about that. You're going to breathe it in. You're going to breathe it in. You're going to hold it. And then you're going to let it go. And you're going to connect with the divine oneness that's inside of you. And make sure when you're breathing in, you're filling that belly up. Okay? We'll do some other meditations where it's a more of a chest filling, but a real good belly full of air. And you're going to do it until you begin to feel everything slowing down, everything calming down. And you think about nothing. And all you want to do is connect with the oneness that's inside of you. That's all you're doing. There's a lot more steps to this when you're searching for answers, when you're searching for purpose, when you're searching for support. But right now, in this moment, we just need to practice being connected with the stillness that's inside us. Because that stillness, that calmness, that peace is divine oneness. And once you practice this enough, it should only take 10, maybe 15 minutes. If you have longer and you need longer, take longer. If you need to revisit this every hour, if you can do it in 3 minutes, that's fine. But what you want to do is you want to connect with that, aha, that weight is off my shoulder. I don't have the solution to all my problems right now, but what I do know is I'm starting to understand and find where can I go for those answers. That's right here, right in your belly. That's where you're going to go. So I'm going to continue this conversation with some additional videos talking about the law of correspondence and the law of vibration, and continue through until we go through all 12 laws. But I'd like to know if you want to make a comment, whether it's on the, I think you can comment on the podcast. I don't know, actually. Never done it before. But on the YouTube, or check me out on Facebook at CommonGirl Creations. Send me a message, but let me know if you were able to use this simple breath work to begin to connect with that stillness, that oneness that's inside of you. And tell me what you're looking for. What do you want to hear about? What do you want to talk about? Do you have specifics? I'm already getting some questions about, do I do one-on-one coaching? Do I offer mentorships? And what's the cost for that? And the answer is I will be. I'm creating a couple of courses and a couple of one-on-one, very inexpensive courses to help you out. Go a little more of a deep dive into some of these topics that we're going to be talking about. And most of the time, things are going to cost $1.99, maybe $2. And the reason I'm going to start doing that is it just gets rid of all the bots. So the channel's free, the podcast is free. Deep diving into very specific, if you have some very specific topics, and you would like some coaching and some one-on-one support, whether that means meeting here in a video, via email, then I'll be putting that information out in the coming weeks. But right now, for the next 12 videos, I just want to do this. I just want to bring awareness, let you know there is an answer. It doesn't have to be a life of medication. It doesn't have to be a life of unhappiness. It doesn't have to be a life of shit just happening to you, okay? You are part of the divine oneness. That means you are and have access to all the power in all the universe that creates humans and central nervous systems and eyebrows and hair follicles and genes and cells. You have access to all of that power. And I hope that through some of these videos, and then eventually into some of our one-on-one coaching and studies, that you'll be able to talk about and share your positive outcomes by finding this. Okay, so thank you for following. Make sure you share it with your friends. Let me know where you're listening to this at Buzzsprout or on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and I look forward to so much more. Thanks.